All right. Man, we should be live now. Yeah, so let's talk about sampling first. Let me just make sure my audio is set up right here. Okay. Cool. So I had a discussion with another user on Facebook earlier this week, just discussing sampling and what's available for Linux. So I'm just going to get into that a little bit. Particularly, he was interested in drum samples, but there are a few different ways we can go here. So first, I wanted to look at a couple plugins. This one's called Sample V1, and then Drum K V1, which is more of like a multi-sampler for adding samples to various notes, whereas the Sample V1 is polyphonic. So let's just take a look at both. And I'm just using Ardor, which is probably the most popular Linux DAW to use. So I'm going to add a MIDI track. You can right click in the right side here to add a new MIDI track. Select MIDI. And then we'll why don't I go with the Drum KV one? I think this is going to take a little more time to set up, but let's do it. So Drum KV1, everything looks good here. Add and close. Perfect. And then in Ardor, the audio tracks and MIDI tracks they display exactly the same. So if I drag this down, you can see MIDI. If I close it, not so much. So it's kind of nice. I like that layout. All right, so let's open this plugin and get some samples loaded up. By default, nothing's going to be loaded here, so we need to load some stuff. And you can see each MIDI note number has some text tied to it. And I think you can change that. I'm not sure. I haven't used this a lot. And then double click here to add a new sample. So let's start with a bass drum. And I have so much stuff. Go into documents and there we go. Drum samples. Let's just pull in like a basic 909. Something like that. Let's hear it. Okay, that works. All right. And I'm not going to get too carried away with this, but just kind of show how it works. Acoustic snare, electric. Okay, we'll do the electric snare. What do we have here? SD1. Okay. Works for me. Let's hear it. Good enough. We have hi-hats in here. Closed hi-hat. I'm just going to add these three elements and we'll go from there. Okay, so hi-hat 1. That closed. Yep. Okay. Cool. So we'll just sequence something really quickly with that. And to do that, you have to go into the draw mode. So you can click this pencil, or you can hit the D key on your keyboard. For some reason, you have to do that to create a MIDI pattern. I don't know why. And then to make it a full measure, you hit G or back into this pointer thing, and then pull that out. Four bars there. Actually, I think that's four measures. Here, there we go. That's better. Cool. So let's, I'll go back into the draw mode, and you notice that we have some notes here that are 16th note. You could change that if you want to 8th note, and it'll by default make an 8th note. I'm going to change the snapping back to 16th. But I'm also going to change this to percussive. So if I right click and go into note mode, change that from standard to percussive, I can add some notes. So I think we're starting at C2. Yeah. So C2 is the kick. I'll just do 4 beats of kick, and then we have our snare there on the E, so I'll do that on the 2 and 4, and then a hi-hat is up here on the F sharp. So I'll just do straight 8ths on that. I'm not doing anything too impressive here, just want to show you how this works, different samplers and how you can use them. So if I hit the L key, well, it would play a loop if I had defined one, but I haven't yet. So I can right click on this region, this MIDI region, and make it a loop by clicking loop there. Okay, pretty basic. Cool. So that's how that's how drum KV1 works. And I think I need to turn my mic down. Give me just a sec. All right. That's probably a little bit better. Sorry about that. All right. Cool, so that's, yeah, drum KV1, simple drum sampler, and I believe you can save sets as well. So if you wanted to, let's just call this one Wesley. Oh my god, when I hit L it looped. Okay, I'll just call it Wes because because it won't let me hit the L key. All right, so I'm going to save that preset, and I'll put it in my in there with my drum loops, my drum samples. There we go. Save. So I can always recall that preset if I want. So if you built up a super elaborate kit, you could pull that there. So that is drum KV1, and it's pretty cool. There's a lot of different options here if you want to tweak each sample and do some different stuff with it, but I am going to call that good. You can explore the rest on your own. Cool. And then, as I mentioned, also there's the sample V1, same developer here. This one's more going to be for polyphonic samples. So, you know, if you had like a piano sample or something like that that you wanted to use, or a vocal sample, then this would be the one to go for. Yeah, no L's allowed. Cool. So beyond that, I thought this plugin was pretty cool. Zitala from Decomposer, and namely because the interface is not ugly, and it comes with some fairly usable presets. I mean, there's not a whole lot there, but I already have this installed. I'll just show you what it looks like in this same channel, and I think we'll have to move some notes around, but we will do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this guy. We'll put a new plugin and Citala. There we go. And it's a Linux VST. I believe it's available for other platforms as well. But it's just a very simple drum sampler. And then here there's some factory kits. So you have an 808 and the 909. And I think these samples, they mentioned they come from something newer. They're not actually from an 808 or a 909, but let's try it out. Let's see what we got. So this is on actually C1. Oh, apparently C1 is C2. And then the snare is actually on C sharp. So let's move that. And then we have closed hi-hat is on G1, it looks like. So move that. Up a note. And that sounds like this. There's some fun options available here, like you can change the tuning. There's the shape for giving kind of like a volume envelope. Tone, which applies some EQ. Compression. And then panning, of course. Anyway, that one's kind of fun, really easy to use. And then, of course, if you have your own samples, you can just load in those samples here. Yeah, so if I go into my drum sample, like the LM1, we'll just go with the kick drum from in here. And then we need a snare. I love that. I don't know why it's not letting me change to this other sample. I have to do that. No. Load sample. There we go. Snare. And the Lin LM1 is like the Prince drum set, or electric drums. Load sample. We need a closed hat. Yeah. So we can use our own samples there. Easy enough. Pretty cool. Anyway, that's how that works. Another great sampler. So I guess the other thing I wanted to share was a way to slice up drum loops and then play those. So samplers are great, if you have single shots for, your kick, your snare, your cymbals, whatever, congas, whatever you want to put in there. But if you have a loop that you want to chop up and repurpose, then you would need a different plugin. Either that or you could manually chop that up. But I'm going to load in a plugin that's called... That's not it. It's called Ninjas 2, and it's pretty cool. It's a beat slicing plugin where you can either use like a transient detector to slice up the beats, or you can just do like an even number or whatever slices you want. So I'll show you that real quick. And this plugin's available as either an LV2 or VST. Perfect. So first thing we need to do is load a sample. And I'm just going to go back to my, back to my drum samples folder here. And I've got some loops. I made a loop earlier this week in a video. However, I also have some break beats that are free to use here. We're at 120. I'll just grab a 120 break beat then. Just go with this first one. And we can see already that it gave us some suggestions on where it would slice up based on transients. And you can adjust the sensitivity here for more or less slices. But I find right about in the middle works pretty good. If you want to, grab each slice for each transient. But then, if you're more concerned about timing, then perhaps you'd like to slice this evenly across a certain number of 16th notes. So we'll go with 16, and instead of going with onsets, which is the transient there, we'll go with raw, and it'll just be 16 even slices when I click slice. And then you can play each one. You can also change these if you want to loop or play backwards or loop backwards. But I'm just going to leave them as single shots playing forward for now. And then I'll show you how you can reconstruct this on the timeline. So we have 16 slices here, and our subdivision on our timeline in our project is 16. So I'm going to close this real quick. We'll go over here, and I believe this starts. Let's just check again. I think this starts. I think it's C5. But let me just get rid of everything we have here. C4. Okay. So C4 is the starting note. The other thing we need to do is, because these are sustained samples, essentially, is we need to change this from percussive back over to the standard sustained note type. That way it'll be a full 16th note that plays. So go back into draw mode. We'll start it. If I just start at C and then start drawing these in one right after the other, we'll Stairway to Heaven. then it should play the thing through straight, just as it is in the sample, especially since we're at 120 beats per minute. So if I hit L, sounds exactly like the break. So the cool thing about this is I can change the tempo with it sliced up here. It might start sounding weird if I get really far away from the source tempo. Let me just stop it real quick, and we'll change the tempo to something like 150 beats per minute. And move our loop here, and then loop that. I mean, that's pretty usable. We could do that. And then if we wanted to kind of change this up a little bit, we could, like, you know, maybe we wanted to just pull some of these notes around. This might sound horrible. I don't know. We'll find out. And if you wanted to, you could throw 30-second notes in there and get it really glitchy, whatever you wanted to do. And then also what you could do is take and select all of these notes, then hit Alt-5 and give this a swing. So I could quantize this to like a 15% swing. And it'll give kind of like a shuffle beat sound. Anyway, that's a fun one. Easy to mess around with. And then beyond that, there are some cool plugins by, I think it's just, I forget what it's called. I think it's just B plugins, or anyway, this B-Oops plugin, it's a lot like, if you're familiar with D-Blue's glitch plugin for Windows, you can sequence in some different effects. So I'll show you that real quick. Just real quickly here. B-Oops. Insert. Okay. Now I'm going to change this mode from autoplay to host controlled. So it should play when I click play in here. And then I want to set this from bars to beats. And I want it to be 16 steps. So it should play through with each. Yeah. So we'll just add some different effects in here to showcase this. Show it real quick how it works. So when you click add, you get this amp and you can change it to a number of different effects. Let's do like a ring modulator, and I'll just add that on these downbeats. And maybe turn the frequency up and the ratio up. It'll probably sound bad, but let's just hear it. And we can keep layering on effects here. So let's go with like a reverse. Crush this one. Like 8-bit crushing. I don't know. And then we could even do like a filter, I believe. There's a ton of effects in here. So this is not always the easiest thing to edit. Alright, so I'll make this one a low pass and I'll just pull the frequency down. Anyway, that's kind of fun to play with as well. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover regarding sampling. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about trackers now. So I'm going to close this project. My mother says hello. Hi, Mom. Cool. Yeah, so okay, yeah. So let's talk trackers. So trackers were really big in like the LAN party demo scene, and a lot of, I mean, people don't use them as much as they used to. They were big for like the Commodore 64, but there are still some active projects that are pretty cool, so I wanted to cover them. I've been using them lately, so just kind of diving into some of the different ones and getting to know how they work. So real quickly, we'll just go through installing these, using them, etc. The first one I want to show you is called Pro Tracker, and I think that's a pun on the name Pro Tracker, which was one of the Commodore 64 programs. Here some really simple build instructions for this. So we need to clone the Git repository first. I'll just pull up a terminal so we can do that. And this is the URL here to clone. So I'll copy it. And then I will just go into my desktop directory and then type git clone, and then you can, for most terminals, you can hit Control-Shift-V to paste. If not, you can always right click and then paste in links, or you can type them by hand if you'd like. That just takes forever. So I will clone this repository, and once it is done, we'll go into it. So cd Pro Tracker, and you can see the whole thing here. Cool. So we'll go ahead and build it. I think it's pretty easy. It's just a makefile, CMake thing. So yeah, makefile.linux, and then we run the thing. So that'll be really easy. So make file.linux, and we're building it. And these are all pretty, I mean, they're relatively small pieces of software, so they don't take that long to build. You shouldn't really have any issues building them either. So then here, this line here at the bottom, I noticed, is the executable. So we'll just run that exactly. Bam. And there we have it. Look at this thing. Look at that cool splash screen. Oh my god. This thing's incredible. It even resizes. That's great. Nice. So, the difference between a tracker and a traditional DAW, if that's what you're used to, working with files left to right, is the tracker is top to bottom, and each of these lanes here, I'm actually just going to make this smaller so it makes more sense. Each of these lanes here is a track, and they can each play one note or sample at a time, whether you're programming drums or synthesizers or samples. It's pretty simple. So there are a few I guess demo songs available here when you first load Pro Tracker, so you could load those just to get a sense of how this would work. The one that I used in my little intro thing there, I think is I don't remember which one it was. Maybe this one? Maybe not, but we'll play it. You can hear it. Actually, I may need to connect this. All right, totally lost audio. Sorry about that. Oh, man. Give me just a moment. I'll get this back. All right, so let's hear this thing in all of its glory. Yeah, that absolutely rules. One of the cool features of this particular tracker is that it has two built-in TB303 emulation modules, and they actually it looks kind of like the interface of a TB303. So here's just here's a demo of that. Yeah, this one kind of rocks. Before I get too far with my wobbly windows, well, before I go too crazy with Pro Tracker, I want to show you some of the others as well. Milky Tracker is a weird name, but also it's rather popular. Looks like this, apparently. Very cool. So Let's see. Looks like it's available on the AUR, so I'll try to download it from there. I think I actually may have already done that. Let me see. Let me just check. Oh yeah, I already have this installed. Again, just an amazing splash screen. Wow. uh, yeah, this user interface is awesome. I think this one, it doesn't actually scale. Well, I mean, it scales. It doesn't resize. So, you know, you can go. You can really scale this thing up. Oh, yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, this one doesn't come with any demo tracks, but we can very easily make our own with it. What we need to do first is create an instrument. So we'll go into the instrument editor, and we actually need to go into the sample editor. We need to make a sample first. So on instrument 1 here, sample 0, let's, oh man. Let's, there are a few different things we could do here. The first thing we need to do is actually say new sample, and then define how many samples essentially it is. So my sample rate is 48 kilohertz. So I usually just go with like 480 or 4800 or, you know, 2400, some multiple of that, just to make things kind of easy. I'm going to go with 480 samples. And there are a few different ways we can generate waveform here. We can draw freehand, which is kind of fun, like just like that. Like that's gonna sound really good. Yeah, it doesn't really. We can loop it forward, bidirectional, or one shot. Yeah, that sounds horrible. Let's try harder. Anyway, drawing is one thing. You can definitely do that. Or you can go in and use a generator and, for instance, generate a sine wave. And then now that's incredibly low. So perhaps we want to go new sample and then just have this sample here, so like 24 or 240, and then do the same thing, like generators, sine, so 100% amplitude, and then 1 period. You could also change the number of periods if we wanted to make a higher note. Nice. So let's try that. Let's go with the sine, and we'll just make this like 4 periods. Beautiful. So let's just take that as our, well, yeah. This is our first instrument, and it's amazing. And I'm just going to close out of that sample editor, and then we can start adding in notes on this. And to do that, we'll hit the space bar to enter record mode. Some things turn red. And then use the computer keyboard to enter notes. And you can either start at Z and just do, if you look at your keyboard and you start at Z, make that's like C3. Or you can start at Q, and that's like C4. or C5, sorry. So if I were to if I hit Q, that's C2, that inserted C2 there. And then if I wanted like a C sharp, that would be the 2 key. So just just diagonal from that. But let's do like fifths or something instead. So C, G. This is going to be really good. Oh man. All right, best song ever. Here we go. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, that's the basic workflow of a tracker. While this one's fairly limited in what you can do, it's all sample based, you can actually, I believe, load instruments. And I went ahead and downloaded just an archive of some different instruments created for trackers for, the Commodore 64. And I think I can get to those. Let me see. I forgot where I put those. I'll find them, don't worry. Yeah, here they are. So XI files, they're XI instruments. Let's just open up. We'll go by category. And let's say we want percussion, a bass drum. Wow, there's so many. Let's go with standard. Standard 1. STD01. Okay. Let's do it. Looks good. Bass drum. Sick. So I can just insert this bass drum now into this channel if I want to, or really any channel, but oh man, that sounds great. And I'm just putting a kick on every beat. It's gonna be really good. Let's hear it. Yeah, I think we need to turn that. I think we need to turn track 1 down. Which I'm not entirely sure. I haven't spent a lot of time with this one, so I don't know if there's some way to, if there's like a mixer here or what. And let's see here. Maybe we can figure that out. So maybe if we go into my instrument editor, and I can maybe I can just turn the volume down. 17 looks good. We'll try that. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh, because I'm on the wrong sample. Here. There we go. Yeah, this is already awesome. Okay, cool. So let's just, for fun, we'll pull in, some more drums from from that archive. So we'll load up an instrument. Parent. Man, there's like loops and mixed, and there's all kinds of stuff. Scratch, I bet that's cool. I'm assuming S drum means snare. Standard. Again, we'll go with STD01, my favorite. radical. All right, so we can change the I think this is it here. Like, I think if I change this to 8, then it'll move down 8 steps after I put a note in. Oh yeah, like that. So that makes it a lot faster. Pretty much the best song I've ever written. Okay. Anyway, I think you're kind of getting the point of this. I hope so. And there are some things about this. It's pretty archaic and kind of maybe hi-hats are separate than cymbals. Hi-hat, yeah. Closed one. We'll do that, and then we'll just enter this guy in there, and we'll go with every 2. Actually, we'll just go with every 1. We'll hit 3. All right. My mom can't hear it. Oh, damn it. Music borked. Oh, no. Oh, man. Let me fix it. Let me see if I can fix it. Yeah. I'll try. This. Let me know if you can hear this. You weren't missing much. So we can also enter in velocity values here. All right, that's probably enough Milky Tracker. Cool. Glad that came through. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this because it sucks. And, oh, come on. And we'll talk about some other trackers. So Sound Tracker is another one. This one is similar in a lot of ways to Milky Tracker. It looks like this. Again, sample-based. I built it on Arch. It worked fine. So, yes, feel free to do that. It's easy. However, 2 of my favorite trackers are Sunvox, which is available for pretty much any device you could imagine installing it on, including old Palm Pilots and whatnot. But I use it quite a bit, and I have that installed on my computer so I can show you what that looks like, and I will remember to connect that up so you can hear it. Oh man. All right, so here it is. This is actually, I think, a song that I released, so if I put it on here, it might, I don't know, it might mute my audio or something. It might pick it up. The algorithm might pick it up. Let's just make sure this is coming through. And then I'll grab a song that, or a track that I'm working on, maybe that I haven't released. So, load project. Here, this one I'm sure is great. Yeah, so the way this differs, you have the same setup here up top. If you hit the space bar, you can enter edit mode and put in some notes or some automation for tracks. But everything else, everything down here is actually entered through a module. So all the synth generators are modules, all of the effects, everything. And then you can control all of their parameters up here by referencing the module and then the particular number for whatever setting you want to change. So here's just something short that I put together. It looks like it's just two patterns. So we'll just listen to that. Let me just make this a little bit larger. So a lot of the power of this is that you can add just an unlimited number of modules and pipe them together and do all kinds of crazy stuff. The constraint here is that you have to work within the confines of the modules that are available within the software itself, which is just this list here. It doesn't seem like much, but there's really a lot you can do with it. And I think it's a fantastic piece of software. If you feel the need in working with a modern tracker to use VST plugins and stuff like that, instruments that you'd maybe be able to use in other DAWs and stuff, then my recommendation would be Renoise, which I also have, and I can show you that real quick as well. Just exit this. Renoise is, in my opinion, a little bit heavier on the sampling. So similar to those other platforms that we looked at. Anyway, this is what Renoise looks like, and let me make sure real quick that you'll be able to hear it as well. Okay. And so I'll just load in a project. This one's kind of goofy, but whatever. And you can kind of see how this works. Over here we have instruments and samples that are loaded in the project over in the top right. And then you have the tracker interface here, different patterns over to the right, and kind of like a mini-map view of all the instruments involved in each one. So if I click play.
If you can't bring it, you will find a way. If you believe it, for another day. If you can't bring it, you will find a way. If you believe it, for another day.
And the nice thing about Renoise is that the sampler has a lot of options here, and not just that, but you have these like indexes here at the top you can use to scrub through like drum beats and stuff like that to play different parts of it. You can the beat sync and pitch shifting is also really good in Renoise, so I like it for that. It's not as powerful as Sunvox as far as like piping things together in a modular way, which I really like. but it has its own advantages if you're more interested in sample-based music creation. So yeah, it's very powerful. And then again, you can load in effects chains for, and you can even look at like a mixer view if you're more familiar with traditional digital audio workstations. And then there are all these effects here, but you could load up essentially any VST plugin or VST or I think LADSPA plugin that you have loaded in Linux. So it works pretty well. And it has some really great built-in plugins, some kind of unique ones. So I use that quite a bit as well. All right. Now, getting to the challenge part. Let me just close this. For the challenge, what I want to do is just make a track, and I'm gonna use Pro Tracker just because I think it's so unique and simple. So I'm gonna try to make just a track with this and see what I can get done within a matter of 30 minutes. Here, I'll just kind of resize this so it's a little bit easier to see. Let me make sure again that, yep, good there. Give me just a moment. There we go. I'm going to make this a little bit larger just so it's easier to see. We'll get the timer in there as well. Okay. We'll call that good. Something like that. Nice. All right. So we'll go with into the disk IO zap. Get rid of everything. All. Apparently zap means new in Tracker language. And actually, let me. I think there's some noise coming through from my mic, so give me just a second. I'll fix that. All right, that should be better. Cool. All right, so 30 minutes on the clock. Starting now. All right. And I don't know for sure, but I think I can load those xi.xi instruments in here as well. So I might try that. We'll see. But this also has a synth engine, which is pretty good. And then these 303s, as I mentioned. The 303 part is kind of weird because it doesn't act like an instrument. There's like an effects command to make it work. And this took me forever to figure out. So apparently if you hit 3... Oh, what? I don't even remember what it was. I think it's 3-1 is the pattern 1. So 3-1 1A, I think, means pattern 1A. Or wait, I don't even remember. Oh man. Yeah, let's see if that works. No, it doesn't. So I did that wrong. 3, maybe it's 3-0 or 3-2. We'll just keep, I mean, I gotta figure it out. Nope, that's not it either. The 303 test has it in it. Okay, so it's, okay, 3-1 is the first one, and then 3-2 is the second. Okay. All right. Start over. All right, so if we want to get a 303 in there, it's a 3-1 A1. Okay, yeah, so that works. Good. So I'm just going to pull the cutoff down. And we'll make a pattern. I'm going to do just an 8-step pattern. And we want step 1 on. Step 2 can be a rest. Step 3 here. Step 4, I want to slide back down. Step 5, we'll make a 5th or a G. Step 6 will be a rest. Step 7 here, slide. Step 8, a rest. Okay, this might be weird. We'll just hear it. So I think I want to do is put an accent on this one, accent on that note, on the 3rd, and then let's put an accent on the 5th as well, and then I guess an accent on 7th, because that's a slide. Accent on, we could put an accent on the 1st. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, that's good enough. And I'm actually gonna use the second module as well. So we'll go with a 3-2 pattern A1, and then this one I think will just be. So if I go to 2, it'll be just default. So. Yeah, okay. The first one, let's make the second one a square wave instead of a saw. And I'm going to pull the cutoff down. So to make this one interesting, I think I'm going to go with 6-step. And I'm really just going to focus, I think, on rests and accents. And we'll leave it at the C. Or maybe we'll go down or up an octave. So first step we'll leave as is. Maybe I'll accent it. Second step, I'll make a rest. Third step, we can go down. Fourth step, slide back up. Fifth step, we'll make an accent. And then sixth, we'll go ahead and just make a rest. And we'll see what that sounds like. All right, just to make this interesting, I'm going to modulate the cutoff, and you can record live any changes that you make. So I'll play it. Cool. Turn that off. And let's hear it. I'm being asked, how is Martha? Martha is doing wonderful. Thank you for asking, Nick. However, we have a sick chicken, and I am not sure she will make it another day, unfortunately. She's pretty ill. All right, so there's some quick shortcuts here at the top. M is for modules, so like full songs. I is for instruments. They have some fun presets here that we can use, so let's do that. I'm going to add just a kick on my instrument 0, essentially. And I can change my keyboard octave. Wow. Let's go with that. And then step add, again here like we did in the other program. It's going to be the gap between each insertion. So let's hear that. All right, shaping up, I guess. Let's do some kicks or some snare stuff. We have a snare. Snare. I don't know for sure which one I want to use. Let's go to our next instrument slot. 01. Let's hear this one. Oops. How about this one? Ooh. I like that one. It has kind of like the hi-hat with it. I like it kind of higher though. Let's go with that note. And then I can change my step add from 4 to 8. We'll just throw in kicks on every 2 and 4. Or I mean snares rather. Let's hear it. This needs more. And then again, like with the other tracker, we can change the note velocity like that. So we got a little fill on the end there. All right. So let's do some hats. There's not a hat in here, a hi-hat, but there's a crash cymbal. And if you play it really high, then it kind of sounds like a hi-hat. So we'll use that. I think I'll go with that. I'm going to step add to 1. A similar pattern to what I did on the Milky Tracker. And then maybe I'll actually use like a lower version of the sample here, like that, like that. Okay, I'm gonna do the velocity edit here. All right. Now each instrument also has like a mixer, essentially. We can change, and this is dependent on which track you're on with your cursor, so that it'll change depending on where where you are in here. Took me a while to figure that out, but I think I need to turn the cymbals down. Oh, that's compressor. No, just the volume. So if I turn that down, snare probably comes down as well. Yeah. Okay. I want to add another instrument, but I don't. Oh, I can add another track. Yeah, I want to add another track, and I just want this one to be like a sub bass line of some sort. All right. Yeah. So next instrument, we'll call this one sick bass. All right. We'll go into synth, turn it on, and oh my God, it already sounds perfect. I don't even need to change anything. Just kidding, it's horrible. We'll pull the cutoff down on the VCF. What is this? I don't know what this means. Is that okay? A sub oscillator I can turn on. Huh. Huh. I can't tell if it's doing anything. Yeah, I don't need the sub oscillator if I'm making a bass. Oh man. All right, we need to do something with an LFO here. We'll pulse phase for oscillator 2. And then we'll turn the period down. So it's nice and slow. Wait. We want that higher. Yeah, 156 is fine. And then I think I want this envelope to affect the filter. Huh. It says portamento glide, but it doesn't do anything. That's kind of awesome. All right. Why is this panned so hard to the left? Where is that? I have no idea where the panning is. Oh, there it is. Center. Okay, we're going to make this really cool, really fast. Let's hear that. Oh man, that's great. Let's make it faster. It needs to be like 147. We gotta shuffle it like 50%. Let's hear it. I think my crash needs to be light. My crash needs to be quieter as well. Also, the panning on everything is just all over the place. Like, it can be slightly off-centered, and that's okay, but like, we don't want the kick off-center. Now these, it might be fun to pan the TB303s. Whoa. So that one kind of far right. We'll pan this one kind of far left. Like that. Oh yeah. Man, I can't remember how to turn reverb on. The reverb's not very good, but it adds a little bit of something. Let's see here. Reverb. It's in here. Oh, okay, yeah. On. You have to turn it on. There we go. And this is for the snare. So we'll just add reverb to a few of the tracks. now I need to do some sort of sequencing. So I actually have a track here in 1 minute and 42 seconds. So this still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but apparently I can take this as like my whole composition and like copy it down. So I just like insert it several times into this sequence here. We'll just do that. And then I can mute specific channels. So we'll start with like just the 303s, the kick, and nothing else. And then we'll pull in the hi-hats, and then the snare. And then that bass line. Then we'll pull down. Oh no, my light's turning off. Hold on. Turn my light back on in here. Sorry. There we go. So then I think I'll pull out the 303s here. Oh no, we'll let that play a few times. We'll pull out the 303s here. Yeah, I'm out of time. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish out the sequencing. We'll call it a track. And then I think I'm going to delete this one. Or we'll just go with the kick. It's like or the bass is the last. Delete position. Okay. All right, so here's our song. After all of that, are you guys ready? Here we go. Yes, this is the Matrix. Here we go. All right, there it is. There is the wonderful song that I made in 30 minutes. So, if you decide you want to make music with archaic software, then you can do that. And from the disk IO panel here, I can save my project. We'll call this one Really Cool. And okay. And we can also render out the song. So we can render all of the tracks. We can render a selection of tracks here if we wanted to keep some out. Or I think we can actually render out specific, like all of the tracks individually. We may have to do that one by one, but you can render out 32 or 16-bit. I'll just do 16. I don't care. Oh yeah, one file per track. So you could turn that on and then get essentially stems that you could mix in a traditional DAW. So that's kind of cool if you really wanted to use like the sequencing here and make all of the, the synths and samples and track everything, and then, do some more in-depth mixing. a linear DAW, then you could do that. So anyway, I'm just gonna render this out. I'll save it first. Saved, really cool, thanks, awesome. Render. 52-second song done. Cool. So then we could go into, I believe, somewhere in this Pro Tracker folder under release distrib. I don't know. Oh yeah, it, for some reason it renders them out into the instruments folder, which is strange to me, but yeah. Anyway, that's how that works. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add here. I want to thank all of my friends for joining in here and keeping the stream alive. Appreciate that. And I'll put links to everything that I shared in the stream down in the comments of the thing if you want to watch it later and find some of this cool software and try using it yourself. Yeah, I guess until next time, I'll